can't even remember what I was talking about. I feel like I'm a senile old person. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about mistakes. The nature of mistakes, how to grow from them, how to ignore them, how to embrace them. Well, often people ask me if I make a lot of mistakes when I'm working because it's so precise. And my answer is usually the mistakes are the exciting part. When you have everything mapped out and everything goes according to plan, it almost tends to be boring. And it's those mistakes that sort of lead to discovery. So I think it's really important in art to it's very important to have a plan when you make a piece of work. I mean, for most people, a lot of people work very spontaneously and gesturally, and that's great too. But even in those situations, you sort of have an idea. You have like a set number of colors, and and like you have an idea of composition and all that stuff. But it's also really important to be able to take a step back and evaluate whether you're doing things the way you expected, and if you're not, whether the unexpected things add to what you're trying to do or if they subtract. And I think that's a really important lesson. So it's about not fearing making a mistake. It's about embracing when things go wrong. It's about allowing yourself to shift your perspective to say, this isn't what I meant to do, but I like it anyway. And it's also about like accepting when something perhaps is not working in general. Recently I created a new piece of art, and when I was finished I wasn't quite happy with it, so I kind of evaluated it and decided what needed to change and started a new piece. So when I finished both of them and put them side by side, the second one was exactly what I wanted to do. It was what I wanted to accomplish, but I liked it less than the first one. And although there's essentially one mistake in the first one, and you could see it here, it's sort of like I added one element which made the whole thing asymmetrical. And it just like bugged me. But it's really hard to determine what exactly went wrong when I try and recreate the piece. So like if I were to start it over from scratch, I would kind of not know how I did that one mistake. So it made it kind of impossible to try and match the mistake on the other side, to make it a mirror image, to make it look less like a mistake. So I started over from scratch and I made the second piece. But when I made the second piece, I just wasn't that happy with it. It was like kind of soulless and lifeless. And the first one had this sort of energy that I appreciated. So it kind of got me thinking a lot about the nature of mistakes in art, and especially in abstract art, geometric art, which is obviously a lot more subjective than portraiture or landscape art, where if you make something a mistake, it kind of is more glaring, especially if you put the nose upside down or something like that, or even just proportions are off. So this is more about, and sorry about that, I have obviously construction going on upstairs. That's great. So anyway, hopefully that's not too distracting. Anyway, so it got me thinking about the nature of mistakes and how to learn from them, how to rise above them, how to ignore them, and how to embrace them, ultimately. So I think really this is going to be a short video. I'm going to show a little bit about how I made the second piece, but mostly it's just kind of like talking about how when you have expectations when you're making work, sometimes it's better to just put them to the side, or if something doesn't meet your expectations, it's okay to put it to the side and to take that piece, put it away for a while, reevaluate it later, and just sort of decide whether your expectations were the key factor in making this piece a success. And ultimately, I think that's what's like of big value here, is that like when you set yourself some expectations and you don't meet them, sometimes that is, you're setting yourself up to fail in a way, because a success isn't measured by your meeting your own expectations. It's by whatever the product is. Ultimately, when I tried to figure out how to make that one piece match on the other side, I kept getting stymied. So I was just frustrated, and I was like, well, I'll start over and I'll make this other piece, and that will solve it, and I'll just like get rid of the other one, the first one. But ultimately what happened was the mistake is what kind of gives it its character. It's kind of more interesting to look at. And the asymmetry is almost hard to detect. It encapsulates a moment. And if I work on it more, I think it'll just really change it. But thinking about how to move forward from it is kind of the more interesting thing, because my first reaction was to do this piece, which, again, it's so clean and perfect that it kind of lacks any interest for me. It's like kind of interesting, and I think someone will like it, but it's not as interesting as what I maybe will do eventually, which is try to really play with asymmetry and like a little bit more randomness and chaos, but still have like this underlying pattern going at the same time, which is, again, if you look at all of my work, something that I tend to be interested in. I like to have chaos and order in the same piece, so you could find pattern, but also sort of be perplexed by some of the other noise in the piece.
I just want to take a quick break from working to show you how stormy it was about to be outside. It's rainy season in Vietnam right now, so I'm not even sure if that came out, but it looks pretty cool.
So I think that's the main message of this video, is that a mistake is only a mistake if you let it be, with abstract art. And there's always room to improve a piece, to rework it, or to start over again using that mistake as an impetus for another piece, which is, I think, the biggest lesson, is that there are no mistakes, there are just lessons. And there's always something to be learned from every piece of work you do. And I think that's the underlying theme of my permutation series, is that it's an evolution, and each piece informs the next piece. Maybe not directly, but certainly indirectly. And eventually I revisit themes from early on in my work, and you can almost look at look at a series and like see the evolutionary touchstones from previous pieces and say this piece has elements of this piece and this piece and this piece, and I find that really fascinating in this series. And I think I've talked about it before, but I would like to eventually one day create like sort of this etymological diagram of work, like on a big piece that has like all of the different permutations like grouped together and maybe named and stuff like that, kind of the way like a Darwin evolutionary tree kind of thing. But I'm still a little intimidated by that idea. But that's sort of like, I think you could do that with any body of work by an artist. You can kind of like break things down by theme and media and technique, and that's kind of what Permutations is about. It's like sort of like an exploration of, it's about growing through evolution in artistic practice. I think that's a good way of summing it up. So I'm really curious to hear what you think about mistakes. Like, has this been helpful to you? Do you find that, I think that it's really important to not be discouraged when you're an artist. You have to be able to lift yourself up. And I hope that seeing this video makes you shift your perspective a little bit about how to approach your own work. Accidents are okay, and mistakes don't really exist. They're just lessons to be learned. And sometimes when you break your own expectations, sometimes you land on something unexpected but better than what you could have planned. So just keep that in mind, and I hope that this helps you on your art journey. And if so, please comment below and let me know what you think, because I'd really like to know. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's on the shorter side, which is maybe good. If you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe. I intend to do more pieces like this where I kind of break down how I work and what my rationale is, both from a technical standpoint and from a thematic or what's the word? Conceptual, that's the word. So both from a technical standpoint and a conceptual standpoint, how my thought process goes as I'm working, and hopefully you enjoy it. So if you've liked this video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and if you want to be extra cool, you can hit the little bell so that you'll get a notification when I publish. I'm really trying to publish once a week, shooting for Friday mornings, US time. Those subscriptions and likes and bells really help me, so if you like what you see, please do so. And I look forward to hearing from you, and if you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. What's the word? I can't believe I can't think of this word. From a thematic or when a piece or when art has a now I can't even remember what I was talking about. I feel like I'm a senile old person. So that's what these videos will be about. It's about how my work evolves, how art in general can be conceptual, that's the word.